David Forsyth is P4. 45 minutes remaining in the session. Race start. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kilograms ballast. David Forsyth is P4. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kilograms ballast. John Astrup is P3 with 10 kilograms ballast. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kilograms ballast. Martin Moore is P7. Richard Ogden is P2 0.2 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Martin Moore is P6 0.2 seconds behind Richard Ogden. David Forsyth is P3 0.2 seconds ahead of San Marco. Seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. Preston Cupido is P9 on Supers. Martin Moore is P5 0.3 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. Crispin Williamson is P1. Martin Moore is P5 battling David Forsyth. Robertson is P6 with 100 kilograms ballast battling David Forsyth. 40 minutes remaining in the session. San Marco is P3 2.5 seconds behind John Astro. Richard Ogden is P7 1.7 seconds behind David Forsyth. John Astrup is P2 with 10 kg ballast 2.1 seconds ahead of San Marco. Richard Ogden is P7 3.9 seconds ahead of Brian Patterson. Brian Patterson is P8 with 60 kg ballast 1.0 seconds behind Richard Ogden. Crispin Williamson is P1 2.4 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Crispin Williamson entering the pits after 5 laps on softs is P2. Preston Cupido is P9. Brian Patterson is P8 with 60 kg ballast 0.5 seconds behind Richard Ogden. Martin Wall is P3 1.2 seconds behind San Marco. Brian Patterson is P7 with 60 kg ballast 0.8 seconds behind Richard Ogden. Preston Cupido is P8. Martin Wall is P3 1.2 seconds behind San Marco. Brian Patterson is P6 with 60 kg ballast 2.5 seconds ahead of Richard Ogden. Rene is P4 with 100 kg ballast 3.4 seconds behind Martin Wall. Brian Patterson is P6 with 60 kg ballast 4.5 seconds behind David Forsyth. Richard Ogden is P7. Brian Patterson is P6 with 60 kg ballast 3.7 seconds behind David Forsyth. Crispin Williamson is P9. Martin Wall is P3 1.1 seconds behind San Marco. 35 minutes remaining in the session. David Forsyth is P5 3.5 seconds ahead of Brian Patterson. Brian Patterson is P6 with 60 kilograms ballast, 2.3 seconds behind David Forsyth. David Forsyth is P5 1.5 seconds ahead of Brian Patterson. Brian Patterson is P6 with 60 kilograms ballast, 1.0 seconds behind David Forsyth. Martin Moll is P3 1.9 seconds behind San Marco. Brian Patterson is P6 with 60 kilograms ballast, 0.7 seconds behind David Forsyth. Martin Moll is P3 2.4 seconds behind San Marco. Brian Patterson is P6 with 60 kilograms ballast, 0.5 seconds behind David Forsyth. Richard Ogden is P7. Preston Cupido entering the pits after 7 laps on Supers is P8. Preston Cupido is P8 2.6 seconds ahead of Crispin Williamson. John Astrup is P1 with 10 kilograms ballast, 0.9 seconds ahead of San Marco. San Marco is P2 1.2 seconds behind John Astrup. Martin Moll is P3 3.7 seconds behind San Marco. Crispin Williamson is P9. San Marco is P2 0.4 seconds behind John Astrup. Preston Cupido is P8. Brian Patterson is P6 with 60 kilograms ballast, 1.0 seconds behind David Forsyth. Martin Moll is P2 0.3 seconds ahead of San Marco. San Marcom is P3 0.4 seconds behind Martijn Mol. 30 minutes remaining in the session. Martijn Mol is P2 0.4 seconds ahead of San Marcom. Richard Ogden is P7. Martijn Mol is P2 0.3 seconds ahead of San Marcom. John Astrup is P1 with 10 kg ballast, 4.4 seconds ahead of Martijn Mol. Crispin Williamson is P9. Preston Cupido entering the pits after 2 laps on softs is P8. Preston Cupido is P8. John Astrup is P1 with 10 kg ballast, 4.3 seconds ahead of Martijn Mol. Brian Patterson is P6 with 60 kg ballast, 0.2 seconds behind David Forsyth. Richard Ogden is P7. Martijn Mol is P2 0.6 seconds ahead of San Marcom. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kg ballast, 0.1 seconds ahead of David Forsyth. Martijn Mol is P2 0.3 seconds ahead of San Marcom. Richard Ogden entering the pits after 11 laps on softs is P7. Richard Ogden is P7. Preston Cupido is P9, 1.1 seconds behind Crispin Williamson. Martijn Mol is P2 0.4 seconds ahead of San Marcom. Richard Ogden is P7. Martijn Mol is P2 0.6 seconds ahead of San Marcom. 5 minutes remaining in the session. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kilograms ballast, 1.4 seconds ahead of David Forsyth. ReneRmotorsport is P4 with 100 kilograms ballast. Richard Ogden is P7. ReneRmotorsport is P4 with 100 kilograms ballast. Martin Moll is P2 0.4 seconds ahead of San Marco. Richard Ogden is P7. Martin Moll is P2 0.2 seconds ahead of San Marco. Crispin Williamson entering the pits after 9 laps on softs is P8. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kilograms ballast, 2.7 seconds ahead of David Forsyth. San Marco entering the pits after 15 laps on softs is P3. San Marco is P3, 2.4 seconds behind Martin Moll. Preston Cupido is P9. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kilograms ballast, 3.7 seconds ahead of David Forsyth. Richard Ogden is P7. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kilograms ballast, 2.1 seconds behind San Marco. Martin Moll is P2, 1.9 seconds behind John Astra. David Forsyth is P6, 4.2 seconds behind Brian Patterson. John Astrup entering the pits after 16 laps on softs is P1. Martin Moll entering the pits after 16 laps on softs is P2. John Astrup is P1 with 10 kg ballast. 20 minutes remaining in the session. Preston Cupido is P8. Martin Moll is P1. Rene Robertson entering the pits after 16 laps on softs is P3. Preston Cupido is P8. Rene Robertson is P2 with 100 kg ballast. Preston Cupido is P8. Martin Moll is P2 2.5 seconds behind John Astrup. Rene Robertson is P5 with 100 kg ballast, 0.7 seconds ahead of David Forsyth. John Astrup is P1 with 10 kg ballast, 1.8 seconds ahead of Martin Moll. Rene Robertson is P5 with 100 kg ballast, 1.9 seconds ahead of David Forsyth. Martin Moll is P2 1.3 seconds behind John Astrup. Brian Patterson is P4 with 60 kg ballast, 2.2 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. Martin Moll is P2 1.4 seconds behind John Astrup. Brian Patterson is P4 with 60 kg ballast, 1.8 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. John Astrup is P1 with 10 kg ballast, 1.4 seconds ahead of Martin Moll. Rene Robertson is P5 with 100 kg ballast, 0.5 seconds behind Brian Patterson. Preston Cupido entering the pits after 6 laps on softs is P8. Preston Cupido is P8. John Astrup is P1 with 10 kg ballast, 0.9 seconds ahead of Martin Moll. Brian Patterson is P4 with 60 kg ballast, 0.6 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. Martin Moll is P2 0.6 seconds behind John Astrup. Brian Patterson is P4 with 60 kg ballast, 0.6 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. John Astrup is P1 with 10 kg ballast, 0.8 seconds ahead of Martin Moll. Brian Patterson is P4 with 60 kg ballast, 0.3 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. Richard Ogden is P7. 15 minutes remaining in the session. Brian Patterson is P4 with 60 kg ballast, 0.5 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. Brian Patterson entering the pits after 19 laps on softs is P4. Preston Cupido is P8. Martijn Mol is P2, 0.6 seconds behind John Astrup. Richard Ogden is P7. David Forsyth is P5. Martijn Mol is P2, 0.2 seconds behind John Astrup. Richard Ogden is P7. David Forsyth entering the pits after 20 laps on softs is P5. David Forsyth is P6, 3.8 seconds behind Brian Patterson. Preston Cupido is P8. Martijn Mol is P2, 0.7 seconds behind John Astrup. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kg ballast on supers. Martijn Mol is P2, 0.5 seconds ahead of San Marco. David Forsyth is P6. Richard Ogden is P7. Martijn Mol is P2, 0.6 seconds behind John Astrup. David Forsyth is P6. Martijn Mol is P2, 0.6 seconds behind John Astrup. 10 minutes remaining in the session. David Forsyth is P6. Martin Moll is P2 0.4 seconds behind John Astrup. ReneRmotorsport-Assetto is P4 with 100 kilograms ballast. Martin Moll is P2 0.5 seconds ahead of San Marco. David Forsyth is P6. Preston Cupido is P8. Martin Moll is P1 0.3 seconds ahead of San Marco. Preston Cupido entering the pits after 4 laps on softs is P8. Preston Cupido is P8. John Astrup is P3 with 10 kilograms ballast, 2.9 seconds behind San Marco. Martin Moll is P1 0.6 seconds ahead of San Marco. David Forsyth is P6. 5 minutes remaining in the session. Martigemol is P1 0.4 seconds ahead of San Marco. Rene Robertson is P4 with 100 kilograms ballast. Martigemol is P1 0.3 seconds ahead of San Marco. Preston Cupido is P8. Richard Ogden entering the pits after 14 laps on softs is P7. Richard Ogden is P7. Martigemol is P1 0.3 seconds ahead of San Marco. John Astrup is P3 with 10 kilograms ballast, 4.5 seconds behind San Marco. Martigemol is P1 0.8 seconds ahead of San Marco. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kilograms ballast. Martigemol is P1 1.0 seconds ahead of San Marco. David Forsyth is P6. John Astrup is P3 with 10 kilograms ballast, 2.3 seconds behind San Marco. Martigemol is P1 0.7 seconds ahead of San Marco. David Forsyth is P6. Martigemol is P1 0.7 seconds ahead of San Marco. San Marco is P2 0.7 seconds behind Martigemol. Martigemol is P1 0.5 seconds ahead of San Marco. is P4 with 100 kilograms ballast. Martin Jamal is P1 0.4 seconds ahead of San Marco. Brian Patterson is P5 with 60 kilograms ballast. Martin Jamal is P1 0.2 seconds ahead of San Marco. ReneRmotorsport is P4 with 100 kilograms ballast. Martin Jamal is P1 0.4 seconds ahead of San Marco. The leader has just finished the race. Martin Jamal is P1. San Marco is P2. John Astrup is P3. David Forsyth is P6. San Marco is P2. Preston Cupido is P8. ReneRmotorsport is P4. Brian Patterson is P5. Richard Ogden is P7. Brian Patterson is P5. Preston Cupido is P8. Preston Cupido is P8.